Hello faithful viewers and welcome back to another Transformers review. This time we are looking at the Studio Series Revenge of the Fallen Voyager class Megatron. I feel like this review has been a long time coming considering the amount of times I've shown this guy in size comparisons all throughout the channel's history. But here we are finally, this is Megatron's time to take the spotlight. Now, his alternate mode in this instance is that of a Cybertronian tank. And it's a cool design. It is, actually. Megatron's Revenge of the Fallen look is possibly my favourite out of all of his from the live-action movies, but his Last Night one is a particularly good version as well. It's, as I said, a cool tank. It's quite strange for what it is, considering the tyre formation at the front here. Its primary coloration is just this dull grey, unfortunately. In the film, of course, it would be silver, and if there's a premium version of this figure, then it's likely it would have been silver as well. But a light grey for the body of the tank. It's not entirely black tyres, it's more of a dark grey, but you can see there are some gold highlights on the inside and the outside of the treads, as well as on the back ones here, and there are some gold highlights for like exhaust fumes on the top. But speaking of exhaust fumes, they are there. That's his fusion cannon, so don't get that mixed up. But they are there, they are nicely sculpted and painted. We'll see they're better in vehicle mode. Overall, it is a very good design. You've got the main tank cannon there. You've got these two smaller ones protruding from the top as well. You can see that he has got visible head syndrome, which is a common thing with Megatrons, especially from the live action films. I think that kind of established that trend. But yeah, he can see where he's going when he's driving, I suppose. From the bottom, it isn't very obvious what becomes what. This vehicle does actually do a very good job at hiding all of that. But if you do know the figure and you do know this version of Megs, then his treads will become his legs, and his arms, kudos to this figure to how they're stored. They are hidden away in all of this, but if you do have a look at his back, well, he's got his left hand fingers poking out, and then the right arm of this is his fusion cannon. So it is taking a few pointers from previous versions of this figure that have been released, notably the Voyager from the Revenge of the Fallen line, and of course the Big Daddy Leader class from the Revenge of the Fallen line. I don't have either of those figures, so I can't compare them, but it's safe to say this is the superior version. So that is Megatron's tank mode. Pretty cool. Now, most reviews would show you transforming this from robot to tank, and that is the more, I want to say, complex way of transforming him. But complex is a strong word, because this figure in reality is actually quite simple. It's just a manner of trying to get all of his arms tabbed in correctly, and because of slight tabbing issues, this guy, you can see he's not really sitting very flat, and he doesn't particularly roll. I mean, you can hear his tyres going, and he does have some small tyres there, and there. But because of how he sits, the front ones here don't come into play, and he doesn't roll very well. So the tyres are kind of useless, really, which is a bit of a detractor, a bit of a shame. To transform him from vehicle to robot mode, as I said, it is fairly simple. It has been a while since we've done this, so bear with me. The first thing that we want to be doing is detaching the legs from the side, if they haven't detached themselves already, because like I said, tabbing issues, so they don't like to stay in very well. Then it's going to become a little bit tricky to remember exactly, because the feet specifically are a bit confusing. I'm going to rotate all of this out and away like this, and we can kind of see he is already coming together. There's not a lot to it. Rotate the legs here out of their tops, just like that. This is another thing. These pop off all the damn time, as do the ones there. We'll reattach it in just a moment, but I'm going to show you on this side what you're actually meant to do, and it's as simple as rolling it over and into place. And I think it's because of the way that they are situated in vehicle mode means that this guy does not sit very flat in vehicle mode. Alright, I'm going to move that tab around there. I'm just going to peg that back on and finish rolling it around, and they are back and in place. Continuing to look at the feet, we want to, this is where I'm trying to remember exactly what to do, take the face coverings from the vehicle mode and just roll them under, and that's given me an idea as to how this is meant to be. Then take these bits that are originally on top of the tank and just roll them to the inside of what will be the foot, and they are essentially feet stabilizers. Because this character model, his feet are the treads, he needs some form of stability. We're going to just move what will be the heel down and click it into place, and then we're just going to collapse all of this back like that so he has the chicken legs. And that, apart from spreading the toes, is one leg all done. So same on the other side. We want to rotate that bit down. We want to begin rotating that bit back. Bring the heel down like that. Lift that flap up. Just collapse all of that back. Have that covering that. And then split the toes ever so slightly. And that's technically his legs done, but we will clean all of this up, of course. So moving to the top of the figure, we're going to have a look at the backpack, and we're just going to disconnect it by wiggling it a little bit. It's tabbed in there nice and securely, and then I'm just going to attempt to hoist it. Once I disconnect it from there, hoist it up that way toward the front, and that will provide clearance just to rotate the arms out and around like so. Getting that all like that. I'm just straightening his arms into their correct positions. Have his right arm of this bit on top, basically. You can move down the head at this point. And now I'm going to shift the legs in until they just click into place, like that. Straighten up those little cannons there, and then we're going to begin folding that and folding that. Now, I don't think you can see all the inner workings in there. I'm not entirely sure if there's a specific place for that cannon to rest in. There is like a gap that becomes available. So just rotate that, keep it rotated, and just kind of plug it in like that. I may have got this ever so slightly wrong. In fact, I feel like I have. It is very particular, and I can see that I've got it wrong because of the way that this back is formed. The thrusters should be exposed. There we go. There was another joint to click out. It's been a while. So I have that lodged in there. Nice and solid. It's just trying to get that snugly in properly, and I'm not sure it actually does. Then you can tab the arms in. Hopefully that will secure everything in place and stop anything from rolling out there. That still doesn't feel quite right, but it is more or less for transformation. Yeah, they're exposed enough. That's just about right. Again, it's been a while. So there we go, that is Megatron, technically, fully transformed. So here he is, Revenge of the Fallen Megatron in a stunningly beautiful robot mode, and this interpretation of him is by far the best figure that we've had. The Voyager from the original Revenge of the Fallen line is shocking. It just is. For one, it's the wrong colour, as we can see here. If I don't knock my camera while I'm trying to explain, this Megs keeps an accurate colour scheme. The grey is retained all throughout. I mean, it is meant to be silver, but honestly, whatever. More gold highlights are revealed, though. We can see his chest is cast beautifully in intricate detail with some really nice paints highlighting it. A superb head sculpt as well, very nicely detailed, and just the entire thing looks immaculate. But yeah, the original Voyager is naff compared to this. He has a big backpack, he's a shell former, and it's just not very good. And the leader class figure is awful as well. It is straight up is. I remember back in the day people saying that it was an improvement on the 2007 version. It's not. It's a downgrade. It's awful. Here's a big cannon arm with that bit that you can essentially flip down from his shoulder, and lights and sounds every time you move it. There's no articulation in it. That arm is stick thin and really short. It's awful. This is the definitive Revenge of the Fallen Megatron that is out there. I'll just do a quick 360 here. I mean, look at all of that detail. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Thrusters, Again, silver paintwork inside. Sublime. Yeah. Good. Brilliant. The biggest detractor about this figure, though, that I will say is his stability. I mean, as you can see there, he sits on the treads, or at least he's meant to, but the way that Hasbro seem to have compensated for stability is to add these little bits here, but it kind of works against the figure, where you can see he's actually kind of not sitting fully flat on the ground. He's kind of levitating almost on these bits, and it makes him really wobbly and prone to fall over at the slightest glancing blow, as I'll demonstrate right now. Yeah, barely touched him, and he fell flat on his back. And you can maybe see here, that's him fully straight, falling over again, but he's kind of tilting back and resting on his heels almost. I kind of don't like that, and I wonder if there would have been a way to provide stability without having to incorporate those bits on the bottom, because I don't think he ever had those in the film. I think he just stood on his treads. In terms of gimmickry, he doesn't have a lot, but his main thing, if we turn our attention to his fusion cannon, if there is like a little thumb thing there, that's weird, but the big thing is his flip-out sword. Awesome. It is very soft plastic, and it is a bit prone to warping. I don't know if you can see that, but the very tip of the blade has started to curve inward that way. I suppose I probably could treat that with a hairdryer. I'm not going to, though. It's not the end of the world, but it is something just to acknowledge. In terms of articulation then, let's have a look. His head is on a ball joint. So you've got a full range of motion. You can go 360 degrees up and down, about that far and that far respectively. At the shoulder, he has a 360 degree rotation like that. In and out about that far. He has a swivel at the top of the arm, an over 90 degree bend. That's it for that arm. And then for this one, you've got all the individual finger articulation as well. Nothing at the waist, just due to the way that these lock in, but he can, well, that panel can fall off, but he can do a forward kick of about that high. And at the back, he can mirror that, so about that far back. Let's just attach these back on. This again is probably the biggest bugbear really with this figure, those panels falling off all the time. At the upper leg there is a 300 and, well, it is meant to be a 360 degree twist, but the panels do start to glide into his crotch, so you are a bit limited, so it's really more of a 180. Now at the knee, if you can call that a knee, it's kind of non-existent really. You can do that, but that's not natural, is it? So there isn't really any knee bend. There's a slight thing there, but just again, due to the nature of the character model, there's not a lot. And then there's nothing at the feet. Again, just due to the nature of it. So really, in summary, articulation is good. It is good. You know, it's far better than all of the other versions of this particular Megatron that are out there. So, yeah, thumbs up for that. For a size comparison, here is our Revenge of the Fallen Megatron against the Mechanical Alliance Star Leader, was it? It's the Studio Series Optimus Prime, the original version, which I think is branded as the Revenge of the Fallen one. So yeah, that's a pretty good scale. Megatron is usually slightly taller than Prime. If not, then they're roughly the same size as one another. So yeah, that's pretty good. Here he is next to Dark of the Moon Voyager class Megatron, which is pretty good Voyager by all standards. They are very similar in terms of height, but the Revenge of the Fallen one is just bigger. Here he is next to the Last Knight's Voyager class Megatron. They are roughly the same height in terms of head, but again, the Revenge of the Fallen one is ever so slightly bigger, just ever so slightly. There's not a lot in it, but I think the guy on the right here is maybe the better figure, but don't tell that one, but I actually like that one better, but he is ever so slightly better. And then a recurring character that I'm going to bring in from now on if I remember to. Here is Marvel Legends Mysterio up against this Megatron. So there we go, that is our look at the Studio Series Revenge of the Fallen Voyager class Megatron. Overall, it is an excellent figure, and it is a sorely needed upgrade from the previous versions of him that were released way back in 2009. If you are looking for a Revenge of the Fallen Megatron for your collection, definitely get this guy. I do absolutely give him a recommendation and a thumbs up. He just, in terms of articulation, it is good. It is a little bit limited, but it is overall far superior to his previous versions. In terms of paint and detail, while it is a bit of a monotone grey, it is far superior to his previous versions, and especially in terms of proportions, this guy is undefeated against other Revenge of the Fallen Megatrons. It would have been a little bit interesting if they'd have found a way to give him two arms like that on both sides, but then again, this version of Megs is notorious for having like this crab fusion cannon thing going on, so I can't complain too terribly much. The biggest bugbears about this figure are the leg pieces that pop off continuously and the questionable stability of his feet, but they are very minor nitpicks, all things considered, and easy to look past. So yes, this Megatron, definitely worth it. Get it if you can. It's not the best Megatron to ever exist out there. As I said during the size comparison, the last Night Voyager 1 I would rank higher than this, but all things considered, this is a splendid figure. Thank you everybody so much for stopping by and checking out this review. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video around to help out the channel. And until the next time, see you all later.